Hey skiers, it's Bob with SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2026 ski test. Got a nice wide one for you today. It's a K2 Mindbender 116C. This ski returns structurally unchanged from last year. We do get a new graphic for 2026. And this is a really fun and energetic powder ski. It really delivers a clean amount of energy and just a really shifty and drifty character that allow it to stay on top of fresh snow. It just has a really fine-tuned flex and quickness to it that makes it incredibly smooth and just happy to be out there. We didn't get on these things this year. Last year, we had a couple of powder days on the 116C here, and I found this to be an awesome choice for here in Vermont for a snowy day ski because it fares so well in trees and other tight areas. It's very mobile and agile and just delivers just the right amount of energy and feedback without being overly demanding. So a real nice middle ground here with the 116C. It is built with an aspen wood core. We get their carbon spectral braiding technology. So in the Mindbender series, the more directional series of skis, we get a tighter cross-hatching of carbon stringers in the shovel, and then it gets longer as you get to the tail. So more across the cut in the front, and then more with the cut in the back. And what that's doing is it's giving the front of the ski a little bit more precision and control. So each time that you tip the ski up on edge, those carbon stringers will have more to hook into to bring you around into a turn easier. And then it definitely adjusts that flex in the tail, making them less torsionally stiff, but a little bit more rigid from a longitudinal standpoint. And that allows for better steering out of the tail. So it does have kind of a change in how the ski flexes from tip to tail, and it seems to work quite well. You know, it's any time that you get on a ski and something clicks, you're like, oh wow, what was it about that ski that I like so much? It generally comes down to something that they specifically put in the construction. So in the case of the Mindbender 116C, that carbon spectral braid does a lot of the work when it comes to making the ski a precise turner in the front, but then a nice drifty feel in the back. And I think that equates to really good tighter space skiing. You know, I think that when you get into more open spaces, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. It's going to do just fine, but I find that it excels in those tighter spots and more technical zones. It ends up being a little bit on the hefty side on the scale because there's just a lot of material. There aren't a lot of skis in the 116 millimeter range that are light specifically. This is 2,140 grams. So there are heavier skis in this range, but there are also, you know, this one just feels like it has a nice balanced weight to it. Flex-wise, yeah, it's a nice and flexible and surfy ski. You know, you do get kind of that nice softer shovel in the front. And then because those carbon stringers are more longitudinal, there is some feedback there towards the tail. I think when we get into the shape and profile, the free ride aspect certainly starts to shine through. In this 182, we're at a 21.2 meter turn radius. Really makes it drifty and smeary. And I think this kind of lower overall profile certainly helps in that regard. It's not overly bowed out or really dramatic in its cut. So that does make it smoother. And when you're keeping those skis at a shallower edge angle, it's just a very rewarding experience as opposed to something that's a lot more curvaceous, which is going to want to follow that pattern and be more up and down and bouncy. But these are very, very smeary. Really long tip rocker, but it doesn't amount to a whole lot. A lot of skis that have this length of tip rocker will end up with a lot more splay, and that will make the ski bouncier. Taper's brought well down into the ski as well, just offering a nice spoony platform to stay on top of the snow. And then really long rocker in the tail as well. Pretty short effective edge on these skis. Yeah, all the way down to there. So a lot of long tail rocker, but again, pretty low and more of that directional shape without much of a twin tip to it. And then that taper in the tail, just to emphasize that, it is pretty dramatic taper-wise. Anytime that this end is quite a bit sharper than the rest of the ski. That just means that the ski is able to steer really well through the snow. It doesn't hook up, snow doesn't build up on top to push down. It just cuts nicely through, kind of like a boat rudder steering a boat. And I think that's a huge benefit for kind of a modern directional freeride ski like this. But yeah, you do have to get it in the right setting. You know, time and place is really important with the ski like the Mindbender 116C. Not a whole lot of non-powder day applications, so it is a pretty specific product. And for a skier who finds themselves in deeper snow a lot, it's very approachable and fun and easy to use, not overly demanding. I do think it's a little bit wide for those that are looking for kind of an entry into powder skiing. I think that just having that amount of width underfoot can be a little bit hard to get over unless you're a pretty experienced skier. So it is a specific ski in that regard, but a wonderful one at that. So make sure to check out this K2 Mindbender 116C here at SkiEssentials.com, and we will see you out there on the hill. Bye.